So this is a major question I have for Breath of the Wild sequel. What will replace shrines in the sequel to Breath of the Wild? I think that really speaks to the overall question of what we'll be able to do in this world of Breath of the Wild 2. We know it's the same world and it's much more massive than Breath of the Wild's world since we're going to the skies. But with the massive world like the sequel to Breath of the Wild, you have to do a lot in that world, and in Breath of the Wild, shrines were a big part of the things to do in that world. Shrines were also one of my favorite parts of Breath of the Wild. Me personally, when it comes to Zelda games, I try my best to be a completionist, and I always try to collect all the heart pieces, items, gear upgrades. And no, because I know someone's gonna ask, I did not get all 900 Korok seeds. Just for a golden piece of poop, it's not worth it. But beyond the Divine Beast, shrines really gave Breath of the Wild a much better sense of exploration. Whenever you explore a new area, you can always look forward to a new set of shrines in that location. And in some cases, the areas would have some sort of theme. Like my favorite set of shrines, which are in the Gerudo Desert, I'm not sure if it was all, but I know a significant amount of them had like an electric theme in its puzzles. But if I had to critique shrines, the only thing that I would really say, or the only thing that I would really change, is the scenery in the shrines, and the amount of the minor, major, and modest tests of strength, because one thing that I think would make shrines much better is just a lot more scenery, and I guess a lot more diversity in its puzzles. Okay, so on to what I think about new shrines. I think that in this game, the whole Sheikah Tech idea is going to be gone. I mean, there's no sign of the Divine Beast, and one reason that the shrines in Breath of the Wild can't be reused or changed is because they're missing, and the monks have already passed on and served their purpose. But whatever these new shrines are, they'll probably be based on whatever civilization is in the sky, be that Zonai or something new. Personally, I think that whoever's in the sky is a completely new group of people with a new set of challenges. One approach I could see is a new form of shrines that's integrated into the environment. In Breath of the Wild, most shrines contained puzzles that needed to be solved, while others had a puzzle in that overworld that needed to be solved, and then you enter the shrine and get your spirit orb. I could see something similar in Breath of the Wild sequel. Since this game is reusing the overworld, we know that there can't be shrine replacements on the surface, so they would probably take place in the sky. And in the sky, you have a much more limited area to work with. Okay, so I'm really trying to think of just what could they do with shrines in this game. And I've watched the latest trailer of Breath of the Wild 2 a few times, and I think I have a few ideas. In this new trailer, we see several scenes with these Shinto shrine-like things all over these islands, similar to the things that the monks sit under in Breath of the Wild. Maybe you can approach them and it sends you to a shrine-like area completely separate to the world, kind of like the Trial of the Sword. We also see this underground area with this new enemy, and I actually don't think that it's underground in Hyrule, but it's probably underground on a sky island, since if you look on the outside of these sky islands and the inside of this cave, the rock seems to be very similar, which makes me think that they take place in the sky islands. I also thought, what if each island is kind of like an individual shrine of which you solve puzzles on it, or maybe something similar to the Silent Realm or the Twilight Realm in Twilight Princess in Skyward Sword, where you collect teardrops or something to that effect in order to complete that shrine. And then at the end you receive your spirit orb, heart piece, or a stamina wheel, whichever route they decide to go. Another route that they could take is, if dungeons return in Breath of the Wild 2, they may completely replace the shrines. There were the Divine Beasts in Breath of the Wild and 120 shrines, but if the dungeons fully replace the shrines, the only way that I could really see that happening is if there are a lot more dungeons, and they'd have to be much bigger and much more massive than the Divine Beasts. Since the Divine Beasts, I mean, they could be like 10 to 15 minutes, they were all very similar, and I would really hope that the design of these shrines are more akin to previous Zelda games and that they have their own theming. But I want to know what you guys think. What did you guys think of the shrines in Breath of the Wild, and should they return in Breath of the Wild sequel? And I just thought of something. We're talking about what's going to replace the shrines in Breath of the Wild 2, but the real question is, what's going to replace the Korok seeds? I really do not want to think about this. 900 Korok seeds in this game was just insane. I think at this point, I've played Breath of the Wild for 250 hours, and I probably have about 250 Korok seeds. Every time I revisit Breath of the Wild, I always find new Korok seeds in the weirdest places, and I'm sure they're probably going to do something for that too. But tell me your thoughts in the description below. We're really close to 200 subscribers. I think at this point we're about 8 subscribers away, so like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for similar videos to this, and also check out some other videos on the channel. I've been Brosho, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.